Thinking Byzantine here, and today we'll be talking about the Global X Video Games and Esports ETF. Before we get into this video, I'd like to say that I'm not a financial advisor and this is all my own opinion. Please do your own research before making any investment. Now, the methodology of Hero is quite simple. They basically follow the sole active video games and esports index. For a stock to be a part of this ETF, it has to meet these qualifications. It has to be a market cap of $200 million, and 50% or more of its revenue comes from gaming-related industries. So I believe this could be GPU manufacturing, esports-related events, or just creating your own video game. Basically anything gaming-related. And basically, Hero does semi-annual rebalancing, and when it does rebalance, the max weight of a stock in this ETF will be at 6% and the minimum weight will be at 0.3%. Now, a stock can go over that 6% in between the period of rebalancing. Let's say Nvidia started at 6% and they had a stellar earnings, then theoretically they can go above that 6% and go to, like, let's say 8%, 7%. So that's why when we go over some of these stocks that are part of this ETF, you'll see that they're above that 6% rebalancing threshold. Now here are some stats for Hero. It's made in 2019, an expense ratio of 0.5%, which is quite hefty compared to something like VOO, which has less than a 0.05% expense ratio. I believe now it's actually at 0.04, but you need to check to make sure about that. The average PE of Hero is currently close to 31, slightly under at 30.97. The assets under management are around $674 million. Average daily volume of close to $10 million, a bit under. Current dividend yield of 0.09%, which is very small, and the current share price of $31.92. Here are the top 5 holdings for this ETF. We have Nvidia at 6.96%, Activision at 6.45%, EA at 6.35%, NetEase at 6.31%, and CLTD at 6.19%. So the top 5 holdings are above that 6% threshold, so they'll probably be reduced within the next rebalancing. Now here are the sector weightings. This is from a few weeks ago at 4/30/21, and at the time, Hero had a 35% consumer discretionary weighting. Communication services was at 31.9%, information tech at 31.1%, and industrials were at 2.0%. Now here are some alternatives for Hero. We got ESPO, which is VanEck Gaming ETF, and Gamer. Now let's start with ESPO. So as we can see, ESPO has a slightly higher expense ratio at 0.55% compared to 0.5%. Has more assets under management at close to $800 million. Average daily volume around 8 million. Current dividend yield higher than Heroes at 0.18%, which is still very small. And the current share price is $67.24. Now we have Gamer with an expense ratio of 0.75%, the highest of these three. Gamer is also the smallest ETF by assets under management, with only around $115.6 million in assets. Average daily volume of around 1.8 million. The highest current dividend yield of all these ETFs at 0.82%, and the current share price of $93.88, making it the priciest ETF of this bunch. Now here's ESPO versus Hero. If we look from 2019, October 31st to May 7th, then we see that Hero and Espo, they perform rather similarly, though it seems like Hero has a slight edge on Espo. And now here's Hero versus Gamer, and Gamer has the upper hand by about 12%. No, not 12%. If we look at the average annual total returns, it's around 12%. But total returns from October 31st to May 7th is the difference is close to around 24 percentage points. If we look at the graph with dividends reinvested. Sorry. But I got a little ahead of myself right there. But let's look at some reasons why you would be investing into Hero in the first place. Now, gaming is a fast-growing industry. I believe it's a trend among younger generations that they like playing video games. Like, we have iconic games that are still popular now these days that are growing and IPOing, like Roblox, rather popular with kids these days, I guess. We have big investments by large companies like Microsoft. They purchased out ZeniMax, which is the maker of Bethesda, Doom, and Fallout. Even Facebook has a contingent. They have some market share in the video game industry with the Oculus Rift. Google has their Stadia, and I guess if you consider mobile gaming a part of the industry, I guess you could say Apple and their App Store. I'm not really sure you'd call it true gaming, but I guess it's technically gaming. It's just semantics if you consider phones a console or not. But regardless, gaming or the gaming industry has been going strong during COVID. Nvidia skyrocketed. A lot of other companies that deal with gaming have also grown during this period, mainly because I believe COVID sort of encourages people to buy video games to pass the time because everyone was stuck in their house. But I guess with that in mind, it has outperformed S&P 500, as we saw when I clicked a bit too much. You saw a quick glimpse of that graph, but let's just get to that graph and you'll see how far Hero has outperformed S&P 500. As you can see here, from the COVID drop all the way to now, Hero has definitely outperformed SPY, and if we looked from when this graph starts at October 31st till May 7th, we'll see that the average total returns of Hero is nearly double the S&P 500. I know, it's above double actually. So let's just keep that in mind for the next section. So why would you not want to invest into Hero? Well, Hero sort of tracks the biggest companies in the gaming industry. And the gaming industry in general may be a bit overvalued due to its overperformance from COVID and the big investments into technology. And as we can see previously, we saw, I guess we should go back to that graph real quick, I'll point it out. We saw a drop from Heroes at the highs till now, and currently tech has been hit hard these last few days, and so it's just to keep that in mind that the gaming industry may be overvalued, and as we saw earlier in the stat sheet, that the PE ratio is rather high at close to 30. Also, Hero is a bit top heavy, as its top 5 holdings are 32.25% compared to the S&P 500's 21.29%. Hero has a very low yield, so for those dividend investors or those seeking income, this ETF may not be for you. As let's say, I believe AT&T's dividend, which is a dividend stock that's quite popular with dividend investors, is currently yielding over 6%, while this ETF is yielding close to 0%, so just barely above 0% to be honest. It has a high expense ratio, as I said earlier, though compared to the other two ETFs, ESPO and Gamer that we saw, it's the lowest in terms of expense ratio. But if we compare it to something like the Vanguard ETF or VOO or SPY or any standard index fund that follows the S&P 500, the expense ratio is high in comparison. Also, it's a newer fund, so it doesn't have the longest track record, so we don't really know how this stock will perform in an extended downturn, not just a quick drop like in March of last year. So please like and subscribe for more content, and tell me your thoughts on Hero and other gaming ETFs. Also, what other ETFs would you like me to review next? This is Thinking Byzantine, and have a good day.